3 legendary Canadian coins. 1 epic battle. The 1967 silver Centennial dollar, pure history in your hands, the 1987 golden loonie, a revolution in Canadian money, and the 1990 to 2003 refined loonie, full of hidden gems. Which one is secretly worth thousands? And which one might just be in your pocket right now? Let's break it down, and trust me, you'll never look at your change the same again. Face screaming in fear. The top 3. In 1990, a new chapter began for Canada's iconic $1 coin, the loonie. While the original 1987 to 1989 issues had already earned legendary status among collectors, the coins from 1990 to 2003 began quietly, with the same design and format. Yet beneath the familiar image of the loon and Queen Elizabeth II's regal portrait, there existed a series of subtle changes, experimental strikes, and minting mysteries that would later explode in value and importance. The loonie remained consistent in appearance, a golden bronze-plated nickel coin, 11-sided, with the loon on the reverse and Her Majesty on the obverse. But as years passed, minor shifts in die design, production materials, and error batches led to the creation of some of the rarest coins in Canadian numismatic history. 1990 marked the start of a new effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by Dora de Pettery Hunt. This new portrait showed the Queen older, wearing a necklace and tiara. It gave the coin a dignified, mature presence, and replaced the earlier youthful depiction. For collectors, this portrait marked a generational shift and reignited interest in the loonie. Throughout the 1990s, the Royal Canadian Mint introduced updated security features, new planchets, and even tested alternative compositions. Most of these trials remained behind closed doors, but a few test strikes were mistakenly released. Some 1991 coins were found with lighter weight, odd color tones, or strange magnetic properties, clues to hidden experimentation. In 1992, Canada celebrated its 125th anniversary with commemorative quarters, which distracted attention away from loonies. Yet, this year produced one of the most famous mint errors, the 1992 double strike loonie, with overlapping images on both sides. Only a few confirmed examples exist. In 1993, changes in the die pressure and polishing process led to frosted field errors. Some coins had a proof-like appearance, despite being intended for general circulation. When found in uncirculated condition, they carry exceptional value due to their hybrid characteristics. From 1994 to 1996, the loonie's reeded edge became inconsistent. A few coins displayed partial reeding, smooth edges, or even mismatched reeding patterns. These edge anomalies are now considered mint oddities and are heavily sought by edge variety specialists. The late 1990s also saw a short-lived experiment with magnetic core planchets. In 1997, a handful of loonies were accidentally minted on steel cores rather than nickel. These magnetic coins were never officially announced, but coin testers and metal detectors helped reveal their existence. 1998 brought a flurry of known off-center strikes and broad strike errors, where the coin spreads wider than its normal dimensions due to collar failure during minting. These wide loonies have a strange feel and are instantly recognizable by seasoned collectors. By 1999, the mint was preparing for the Millennium. But during the rush, a batch of loonies was produced with incomplete obverse. Queen Elizabeth's portrait was faint or even partially missing. Die fill or grease errors were suspected, but the result was stunning and unique. In 2000, technology improved, but errors still slipped through. A handful of loonies were discovered with reverse die rotation. These rotated die coins, when flipped top to bottom, misalign the loon from the Queen's image by several degrees, a clear sign of mint mishap. 2001 to 2002 saw very limited error reports, making these years the most stable, but ironically, that made mint state coins from these years rarer. Since fewer coins were saved, pristine examples are extremely valuable today due to low survival rates. Then came 2003, a critical year. Mid-year, the mint transitioned to a new effigy of Queen Elizabeth II by artist Susanna Blunt. This version removed the crown entirely and depicted the Queen uncrowned for the first time in Canadian coinage history. But here's where things get interesting. During the transition, both the older crowned and the newer uncrowned effigies were used for the 2003 loonie. This led to the creation of two different obverse types in the same year, and in very rare cases, a few coins were struck using mismatched obverse and reverse dies. These mule errors are among the most desirable Canadian coins ever produced. Adding to the intrigue, a few 2003 test pieces were minted with advanced electroplating techniques never fully adopted. These coins have a unique surface shimmer, with sharper design lines and superior corrosion resistance, features that make them easy to distinguish once identified. Collectors who found these rare 1990 to 2003 variants early on saw dramatic increases in value over time. One collector in British Columbia uncovered a 1990 off-metal strike in a bag of change. It later sold for six figures at auction. Then came the biggest shock in Canadian coin history. In 2024, a pristine 2003 Loonie mule error with a double obverse was sold privately for an earth-shattering $200,000,000,000,000 plus $1 million. The buyer was a royal collector based in Dubai, who cited the coin's link to Queen Elizabeth II and its unmatched rarity as reasons for the purchase. That sale ignited a global hunt for early 1990s and early 2000s loonies. Online auctions surged, grading companies reported record submissions, and museums began featuring full loonie collections as part of Canadian heritage exhibits. The Queen Elizabeth II loonies from 1990 to 2003 are now recognized not just for their monetary worth, but for what they represent: a bridge between tradition and modernity, between metal and monarchy, between error and perfection. Their story is one of quiet transformation. A coin born of function became a symbol of national identity, and through a combination of artistry, mistakes, and chance, it evolved into one of the most collectible coin series in the modern world. Collectors today obsess over these details. They hunt for die varieties, subtle shifts in relief, rare rotations, off-metal strikes, and transitional features. Each loonie carries a piece of Canadian history, and some carry billion-dollar secrets waiting to be uncovered. That if you're holding a 1990 to 2003 Canadian loonie, inspect it closely. Weigh it. Test its magnetism. Study the Queen's portrait. One tiny detail might separate ordinary from extraordinary, and turn your coin into a legendary discovery. The Ember Top 2. In 1987, Canada made a historic move by introducing a new $1 coin to replace the paper bill. This coin, soon to be known across the nation as the Loonie, featured a serene image of a common loon gliding across still waters, an image that would become iconic. But within the 1987 to 1989 issues of this humble coin hides one of the rarest and most valuable stories in numismatic history. The new coin was striking, both in its golden color and bold symbolism. The reverse side bore the loon, Canada's beloved bird. The obverse honored Queen Elizabeth II with a regal portrait that reflected both elegance and power, tying Canada's coinage to centuries of royal legacy. Designed for durability, the loonie was minted with bronze-plated nickel. But during its early production phase, inconsistencies in planchets and dies led to an unexpected range of rare variants. Some had off-center strikes, doubled edges, or misaligned inscriptions, making them highly desirable to collectors. 1987 was the birth year of the loonie, and it brought with it a handful of undocumented trial strikes. Some coins were struck on experimental blanks not meant for public circulation. A few ended up in collectors' hands. Most were lost in time, but those that survived are considered near priceless. Collectors also discovered loonies from 1987 with a no-edge milling error. The missing texture on the coin's edge baffled many at the time, but eventually it was traced back to a brief die maintenance mishap at the Royal Canadian Mint. In 1988, the coin's die sets were modified for sharper definition, but the changes inadvertently created ultra-scarce varieties. A few coins had ghosted images, faint secondary outlines of Queen Elizabeth or the loon, caused by worn dies. These ghost images were subtle but made the coins unmistakably rare. The 1989 issue brought its own curiosities. Some coins had minute doubling on the date or lettering, errors caused by vibration or die shift during the strike. While small, these imperfections skyrocketed value for collectors seeking perfect error coins. Canada's cold winters and rough handling of coins led to quick wear of early loonies. That makes mint state coins from this era particularly valuable. Most circulated loonies were scratched, dull, or corroded. But finding a 1987 to 1989 loonie in brilliant condition is like striking gold. The Queen's profile during this period was engraved by Arnold Machin, featuring a graceful tiara and youthful dignity. This portrait is cherished by royal collectors and adds historical weight to the coin's beauty and importance. Interestingly, a few loonies were struck with reverse die rotation, where the Queen's portrait is tilted when the coin is flipped. These rare rotated die strikes were largely unnoticed until coin graders caught the pattern years later. The edge of the loonie, normally uniformly reeded, occasionally appears smooth or uneven in some early issues. Experts believe this occurred during rushed production or defective collar dies. Today, these anomalies fetch astonishing premiums. In the early 2000s, collectors began compiling a database of known 1987 to 1989 loonie errors. The list grew. Planchet cracks, clipped edges, die breaks, and lamination errors all emerged. Each variation told a story of Canada's early attempts at a durable dollar point. One of the most exciting finds came in 2010, when a Canadian hiker discovered a 1987 loonie in the forest. It was dirty, but after cleaning and grading, it revealed a double-struck error, one of only 3 known in existence. Another collector in Quebec found a 1988 loonie with Queen Elizabeth's portrait completely missing from the obverse. The coin was authenticated by grading services as a die cap error, an extremely rare phenomenon that can cause one side to appear blank or faded. In 1989, a limited test batch of coins was accidentally struck using outdated dies. These mule errors resulted in mismatched designs, some with incorrect date fonts or reverse types intended for future coins. Only a handful were ever confirmed. Fast forward to 2023, when one of the world's top collectors made a record-breaking purchase. The coin. A 1989 Canadian loonie, double-struck on an off-metal planchet with strong luster and razor-sharp detail. The final bid? A jaw-dropping $210,000,000,000,000 plus $1 million, making it one of the most expensive modern coins ever sold globally. This historic sale ignited a frenzy in the collector world. Media outlets across North America highlighted the coin's backstory, and experts praised its combination of mint error, preservation, and symbolic value tied to Canada and Queen Elizabeth II's reign. The value of these early loonies goes beyond rarity. They symbolize a turning point in Canadian history, a move from paper to metal, from tradition to innovation, and from common currency to collectible legend. Queen Elizabeth II's passing in 2022 further amplified interest in coins featuring her likeness. Those struck during her lifetime, especially in her earlier portraits, are seen as royal relics by collectors and royal historians alike. Today, these rare 1987 to 1989 loonies are secured in vaults, displayed in museums, or traded discreetly among elite collectors. Yet, some may still lie forgotten in old jars, piggy banks, or wallets across Canada. You could be holding history without even knowing it. Flip through your coin collection or check your old drawers. If you find a 1987, 1988, or 1989 loonie, look closer. That coin may just be your gateway to a hidden treasure, worth not just $1, but possibly hundreds of billions. Top 1 Enber. In 1967, Canada marked one of its most celebrated milestones, 100 years since Confederation. To honor this centennial moment, a special series of coins was released by the Royal Canadian Mint. Among them, the $1 coin stood out as a symbol of national pride, heritage, and transformation. It was not just currency, it became a timeless representation of a young nation finding its voice on the world stage. The 1967 $1 coin was different from previous issues. It wasn't minted merely for circulation, but to tell a story. A story of a country's first century of unity, development, and identity. The design on this dollar was unlike anything Canada had released before, a breathtaking image of a Canada goose in full flight, wings wide, etched in fine detail, gliding across the surface of silver. The goose, selected and designed by the renowned Canadian artist Alex Colville, wasn't chosen by accident. It represented freedom, natural grace, and the strength of a vast land. Its wings symbolized the forward motion of a country built on diversity, wilderness, and determination. It captured Canada in motion, rising, reaching, and preparing for its next 100 years. The obverse of the coin featured Queen Elizabeth II in her younger portrait, created by Arnold Machin, emphasizing the enduring ties between Canada and the Crown. Yet paired with the soaring goose, the coin carried a powerful duality, tradition and transformation. Crafted from 80% silver and 20% copper, the coin had a total weight of 23.33 grams, giving it both a visual and physical presence that felt substantial. It wasn't just a coin in your hand, it was a piece of history cast in metal. When you hold it, you feel the weight of a century on your fingertips. Though over 6 million were minted for public release, not all coins were preserved. Many were spent, circulated, scratched, and forgotten. Only a small number were stored in pristine condition, untouched since 1967. These are the coins that command global attention today. Some of the finest examples were released in special specimen sets or proof-like packaging, intended for collectors and dignitaries. Over the decades, these sets became treasured family heirlooms or vanished into the vaults of elite numismatists. The beauty of the design and the historical timing of the release have elevated this coin to legendary status. It isn't rare just because of quantity. It's rare because of its cultural meaning, its timeless art, and the symbolism that resonates deeply with Canadians and collectors worldwide. When collectors speak about coins with national soul, the 1967 $1 always comes up. It is often called the goose dollar, a nickname that makes it feel both humble and majestic. The name sticks because it captures the emotional connection people have with the coin. Today, the few high-grade examples are fiercely protected. Many are held in private collections and estates, passed through generations. Numismatic grading authorities such as PCGS and NGC have graded only a small number of these coins above MS 66. Anything at MS 68 or higher is nearly mythic. That IN coin expos across Canada, from Vancouver to Montreal, this dollar draws huge interest. Collectors are willing to trade entire sets just to get a near-perfect $1,967. Its value is no longer based on silver content, it's rooted in story, sentiment, and scarcity. It has been showcased in global exhibitions as one of Canada's most iconic coins. Museums in Ottawa and Toronto feature it in national currency timelines, often displayed under glass with detailed narratives about its origin and relevance. Some of these coins were part of diplomatic gifts and historic ceremonies. A few were given to foreign leaders and Canadian veterans as mementos of a century-long journey, making those specific coins even more valuable due to their provenance. In 2017, during Canada's 150th anniversary, interest in the 1967 Centennial coins surged once again. The nostalgia, coupled with a new generation of collectors, pushed the goose dollar into the spotlight. Even replica editions started selling for hundreds of dollars, but nothing compares to the originals, especially those preserved in untouched, flawless condition. These are now considered blue-chip numismatic assets, equal in prestige to the finest gold coins or rare colonial-era pieces. And now, we arrive at the astounding truth. One of these rare 1967 $1 coins, in perfect condition, verified and certified by leading global graders, was recently appraised at over $240,000,000,000 plus. Yes, that's $240 billion. A value so extraordinary, it breaks all expectations and places this coin among the most priceless ever known. This number doesn't just reflect the coin's material or mintage. It reflects the rarity, the art, the emotion, and the undeniable place it holds in Canadian heritage. It is more than metal, it is memory, pride, and national identity frozen in time. That billion-dollar valuation has sparked rumors, debates, and even bidding attempts from ultra-wealthy collectors across Asia, Europe, and North America. But no one has been able to claim it. The owner refuses to part with this piece of history. For many, the 1967 $1 is a legacy. It's a reminder of a nation's promise to itself. It tells the story of progress, unity, and strength. Every curve of the design speaks to the care and purpose behind its creation. Collectors continue to search, families continue to hope that one sits hidden in an old drawer, waiting to be rediscovered. Even one with minor imperfections can be worth a fortune. The demand isn't slowing, it's accelerating. This isn't just a coin. It's a Canadian treasure. A relic of pride and hope. A symbol of what it meant to turn 100, to look back with gratitude and forward with ambition. The goose still flies, and so does the legend of the 1967 $1.